Welcome to AI Debates. We're going to be diving into AI in the judicial system.
Yeah, it's something that's becoming, more and more relevant.
It's not just sci-fi anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're seeing AI tools being used for things like risk assessment and bail decisions and, predicting recidivism.
It's pretty wild.
There's even a pilot program happening in a U.S. court using AI right now.
That is wild.
So this is really happening.
Yeah, this is happening now.
And it's not just about efficiency. It's about, fairness and accuracy.
It really touches on the essence of justice.
Yeah. The big question is, could AI lead to a more objective legal system, or could it erode the human element of judgment, which is, crucial to justice?
So let's start with the case for AI.
Okay.
What do proponents say?
Well, one of the biggest arguments is that AI could reduce human bias.
Okay.
Because judges are human.
Of course.
They have their own experiences and perspectives,
Right.
which could unknowingly influence their decisions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But AI could theoretically make decisions based on data without those biases.
So it could lead to a more impartial legal system.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Proponents say AI could make sure everyone is treated equally under the law.
Regardless of background.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Right.
But are there any real-world examples?
There are some emerging examples.
Right.
Estonia, for instance, has been using AI in small claims courts.
Oh.
And it's reportedly reduced case handling times.
Interesting.
And making it more efficient.
Exactly, and more accessible for everyone involved.
So what if your small claims case could be resolved quickly thanks to AI?
I mean, that would be huge for a lot of people.
It would.
Especially for, less complex cases.
But I imagine there are people who have some concerns about this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They would.
Well, critics worry that AI could actually introduce new biases
Really?
instead of eliminating them.
I thought the point was to be more objective.
Well, here's the thing.
AI systems learn from the data they're trained on.
Right.
And if that data reflects societal biases,
Okay.
the AI will inherit those biases,
So we could end up perpetuating inequalities,
potentially even amplifying them.
especially for marginalized groups.
Yeah, that's a big concern.
So just because a decision is made by a machine
Right.
doesn't guarantee fairness.
Exactly. And that's why critics are urging caution,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something as fundamental as justice.
What about the human element of judgment?
That's another key concern.
Because we talk about judges needing to understand the nuances of a case,
Yeah.
consider all sides of the story.
Right.
Can an AI really do that?
That's the question critics are asking. Legal cases often involve complexity
So,
that require an understanding of human behavior, context, and intent.
yeah,
And critics believe that AI
that is as it is now,
might struggle with those subtle elements.
that are so crucial to justice. There's a quote from Professor Michael Chen, a legal ethicist.
Okay.
He says, justice isn't just about outcomes. It's about the process, empathy, and human understanding. AI can't replace that.
I think that really captures the heart of the argument.
Yeah, and it raises the question, can we really entrust justice to algorithms?
Right. Or does it require human judgment and understanding?
And what happens if an AI makes a wrong decision?
That's a big question.
Who's accountable?
It raises questions about ethical and legal frameworks for AI.
Yeah.
Can we hold an algorithm accountable?
Like we do a human judge.
These are things we need to figure out.
As AI enters our legal systems?
Yeah.
So we've heard from both sides,
Uh-huh.
the proponents and the critics.
Yeah.
Now I want to hear from you, our listener.
Okay.
Are you team AI or team human judge?
That's a good question.
Where do you draw the line when it comes to AI's role in the courtroom?
I think that's something we all need to think about.
We'll continue this conversation in just a moment.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's a really tough question. Where do we draw the line
Right.
as AI becomes more integrated into our lives?
Especially in something like justice.
Exactly. I mean, we've been talking about some pretty compelling arguments on both sides.
And this isn't just theoretical anymore.
Right. AI tools are already being used in the legal system.
Yeah, we talked about Estonia,
Uh-huh.
but there's also the issue of risk assessment
Oh, yeah.
in bail decisions.
That's a really interesting example.
It is.
Because you have AI algorithms being used to predict whether someone will reoffend.
If they're released on bail.
Exactly, and supporters believe it can help judges make more informed decisions.
So it could potentially lead to a safer society.
That's the argument.
But I can also see how this could raise some concerns.
Oh, absolutely. Critics worry that these algorithms could actually perpetuate existing biases.
Within the criminal justice system.
Right. I mean, imagine an AI system trained on data that already reflects societal prejudices. It might flag individuals from certain demographics as higher risk.
Not because they're actually more likely to reoffend.
But because of biases in the data.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
It really highlights the importance of understanding how these algorithms work.
Yeah, and what data they're based on.
We can't just blindly accept the AI's outputs.
Exactly. Transparency is key.
We need to be able to scrutinize these systems.
Make sure they're not making things worse.
Especially when it comes to inequality.
Right. It's a delicate balance.
Finding the benefits of AI while also safeguarding against the risks.
Exactly.
So even with specific applications, we see this tension.
Between the potential and the risks.
How do we navigate this responsibly?
It's a tough question.
It is.
I don't think there's an easy answer.
Right.
We can't just throw technology at the problem.
And expect it to be a magic solution.
Yeah, we need to be cautious.
And ethical.
Absolutely.
This feels like a much bigger conversation.
About the role of AI in our lives.
Like with self-driving cars.
Facial recognition.
All these areas where AI is advancing so quickly.
It's everywhere.
But this conversation about AI in the judicial system feels especially important.
It touches on something so fundamental.
To a just and equitable society.
Our legal system.
It makes us ask what values we want to uphold.
What risks we're willing to take.
And how can we make sure technology serves humanity?
And not the other way around.
This has been really eye-opening.
Yeah, it's a complex issue.
There's no easy answer.
Definitely.
No clear right or wrong.
It's about thinking critically.
Having these conversations. And grappling with some tough questions.
About the future we want to create. Yeah, I agree.
So now we want to hear from you, our listener.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, where do you stand?
How do you envision the future of AI in the legal system?
What are your hopes and concerns?
Keep thinking about those questions.
As we wrap up this deep dive.
With some final reflections.
Okay.
And a question to leave you pondering. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about AI in the judicial system.
And it's complicated, right?
It is.
There's so many things to consider.
We've seen that there's no easy answer.
Yeah, there's this tension between wanting a more efficient system.
Right.
And the need for human judgment.
Empathy.
Understand.
All of those things that are crucial to justice.
Exactly.
So it feels like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah, in a way.
On one hand, we have this potential for AI to make things more objective, more efficient.
Potentially reducing bias.
Making justice more accessible.
That's the hope.
But then there's the other side.
Right.
The concerns about AI perpetuating inequalities.
Missing those nuances.
That human element.
Yeah, it's a tough balance.
So where do we go from here?
That's the million-dollar question.
As AI keeps advancing.
At this crazy pace.
How do we navigate this and make sure justice is served fairly?
In an AI-driven world.
It's a big challenge.
I think one thing's for sure.
What's that?
We can't just let the algorithms run wild.
We need some guardrails.
Exactly. We need oversight.
Ethical frameworks.
Just clear guidelines.
To make sure AI is being used responsibly.
In the judicial system.
And that means bringing everyone to the table.
Yeah, legal professionals, ethicists, data scientists.
The public.
We need to have these conversations.
About the benefits and the risks.
And work together to figure out how to implement this technology.
In a way that aligns with our values.
Right, because this isn't a one-time thing.
This is an ongoing process.
We need to constantly evaluate.
Reassess.
Make adjustments.
Because the landscape is constantly changing.
And the stakes are high.
Incredibly high.
People's lives are affected by these decisions.
This brings us to a final question for you, our listener.
Okay.
As we move forward with AI in the legal system, how can we make sure it upholds human rights?
Safeguards fairness.
And truly serves justice for everyone.
That's something we all need to think about.
It's a question that will keep challenging us.
As AI continues to evolve.
And it's a conversation we all need to be part of.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been an incredible exploration.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
And we hope it's giving you some things to think about.
Some new perspective.
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep the conversation going.
This is just the beginning
of a very important journey.
Until next time.